This video is sponsored by LastPass. You gotta love a simple product name, don't you? In a sea of Gear Fit 2s and Apple Watch Series 4s and whatever Casio is calling its latest, the name Samsung Galaxy Watch has the double advantage of simplicity and the esteem of the Galaxy brand, which we haven't seen on a smartwatch since 2013. But such a dramatic renaming usually signals a very different product. And different? This is not. I'm Mr. Mobile, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Watch review. The familiarity starts right out the gate. A big circular smartwatch with a mostly metal body, pronounced lugs, changeable wristbands, and 2 side buttons. The watch is big, but not the biggest I've worn, and it's lighter than you might expect. The pixels that make up the watch face are arranged in a circular OLED panel with stunning, crisp colors, plenty visible in direct sunlight, but not overpowering when it fades to the always-on display. This feature is not enabled by default, by the way, and when we talk about battery life at the end, you'll understand why. It might seem like an exaggeration to say that the best thing Samsung ever did for smartwatches was this rotating bezel, but I'm saying it. Sure, you've got the touchscreen and the side buttons, but the second you start surfing the app list by spinning the ring, the experience of using the watch flips from utilitarian to, well, fun. It's also a lot faster to use the bezel to do things like set a timer, and scrolling through an email is much easier when your finger isn't blocking the text. The bezel also has a very satisfying snapping, clicky action, which reinforces the solid, sturdy feel of the whole piece of hardware. Speaking of clicks, this is the Galaxy Watch's most ridiculous feature, and you're either going to love it or hate it. Hop into the settings menu on certain watch faces and you can toggle, yes, a ticking sound. It's very subtle, and it only ticks when the watch face is active, but it's still the most over-the-top, skeuomorphic little touch I've ever seen in a wearable, and I love it to death. Also, an unexpected win, talking on the Galaxy Watch. Through the Bluetooth connection to my BlackBerry, callers said they could not tell a difference in my voice, whether I was on the phone or on the watch. And in a stiff breeze, at least one caller said the watch did a better job canceling the wind noise than the phone did. Well done, Samsung. Other aspects I'm less a fan of. Take the notifications. You feel the vibration on your wrist that you've got a message, you raise your arm to read it, and you've got to wait for this little animation to complete before you get to read the message. I know it doesn't seem like much in these clips, but tens of times a day it really adds up. And this isn't a performance problem. The watch could be faster, it's just that it's had a brake put on it for what I assume is aesthetic reasons. Samsung also does this on its phones to an extent. I call it slow by design, and I don't like it. Then you've got the little annoyances. Samsung still refuses to preload the timer and stopwatch, so you've got to go download them from the App Store. That's just nuts. I mean, this is a watch. Load it with watch things. There's no longer MST support, so if you want to use Samsung Pay, you need to settle for the tap-to-pay version. And I'm not sure if this will be true of the retail models, but I really thought companies were done shipping electronics with this much plastic wrapping on them. Seriously, it took me like 10 minutes to find and peel all these suckers off. A word on fitness before we close out with battery life. Every smartwatch has something annoying it does when it detects you've been sitting too long, and Samsung's is, torso twist? I've seen this so many times at this point, I kind of find it endearing, and yes, it will detect it if you decide to take it up on the offer. Out in the world, getting some steps in, it's great to have everything from step count to heart rate to estimated calories burned on one screen. And I do enjoy the little pat on the back the watch gives me when it detects that I'm through with a cross-city trek. Samsung Health might not be ideal for someone who's really hardcore about tracking fitness, but for a casual tracker like me, it's perfect. And features like GPS for jogs and 5 ATM water resistance for swims mean that even intermediate exercisers will find something to like here. Alright, let's come down to it. The larger of the two Galaxy Watches packs one of the biggest batteries you can find in a smartwatch. And yes, it delivers some of the best battery life you can find, 4 to 5 days, if you leave the out-of-box settings alone. That means, among other things, the always-on display has to stay turned off, which means you need to raise the watch or tap it to show the watch face. For me, I tend to think a timepiece should always show the time, so I was pretty let down that turning on the AOD meant shaving a full day off my battery life. Also, the watch charges quite slowly, taking 2 hours and 10 minutes to go from dead to a full pack. So, is the Galaxy Watch worth what Samsung's asking? Well, if you're the type of person who expects a ton of apps on the wrist, probably not. The Tizen ecosystem is well behind that of Google's Wear OS, which is in the process of getting a big reboot. And across town in Cupertino, the brand new Apple Watch Series 4 comes packing some really impressive health sensors, including a pseudo EKG that makes the Galaxy Watch health package seem almost quaint by comparison. So definitely shop around before dropping the $349 on this thing, keeping in mind that Google's partners are probably poised to drop an avalanche of new models at all price points soon. But if you want a well-made smartwatch today, with a great mix of features and a fun interface, the Galaxy Watch lives up to Samsung's excellent wearables legacy. I say, buy it. And I'll tell you which platforms it works on after the break. This video is sponsored by LastPass. Look, passwords are hard, and they're not always safe. Using the same passwords across sites, writing them on easy-to-find cheat sheets, using security questions that are so easy to guess the answers to. We've all been guilty of this stuff at some point, right? Well, LastPass makes passwords both safer and more convenient. It keeps all your passwords in one secure vault, and it automatically fills them in. That means you don't have to write down, remember, or reset your passwords. And hey, if you're using iOS 12, LastPass will even autofill passwords for you without copy and paste. Imagine never again having to deal with this. Click the link in the description to find out more, and my thanks to LastPass for sponsoring this video. Folks, the Galaxy Watch is made by Samsung, but you don't need a Samsung phone to make the most of it. As I said, I used it with my BlackBerry Key 2 with no problems, and you can even download the app to make it work with an iPhone. Though you might want to wait for my Apple Watch Series 4 review if you've got one of those. Be sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube so you don't miss that when it drops. Until next time, thanks for watching, and stay mobile, my friends.